All right, hello, everybody. I'm here to talk about election security, some of the measures we take to make sure that our elections are secure. And we're going to start with the public test. I'm not going to go through the entire public test process, but I want to explain to you election inspectors and anyone from the public who might be tuning in some of the things we do. So I guess I'll start by explaining how all of the files that we receive from elections system and software out of Nebraska, and they do our programming for our machines and help us build our ballots. So they have a customer portal which we go into and retrieve our files once they're done. And it's a very secure process. We retrieve those off, store them in our files. Then eventually we put these on the memory device, which in our case here for the DS200 is a thumb drive. So once the thumb drive is loaded, and we also have AutoMark, an AutoMark card, which we program and put in this black box, which then we seal. What you find in this black box are the memory devices, seals that we're going to use, which we'll get into in a minute, and the media, extra roll of extra supplies for the election day. So I've got the machine here ready to go, and I'm going to plug memory device in to the machine. And remember, before you do this, remember to record this memory device seal on the inspector statement where it asks for it. That's one of the things that the chief inspector is going to verify. That's at the end of the election anyway, because you won't be able to get to it before. So once we get that plugged in, we'll go ahead and power the machine up. While that's powering up, I'm going to explain another thing. The voting unit number. The voting unit number is located right on the side of the machine, right there. So this unit number is 07049. This number should remain consistent from election to election for your polling place. So that number goes on the inspector statement as well. All right, the DS200 might take a little bit of time to boot up. I've got a test deck. I've got about 7, 8 ballots here, which will make sure that our machine is reading every oval on the ballot. It will also, we're going to prove that our machine will alarm when there's an overvote. So we do an overvote in every race. And then we also want to prove that it will show undervotes for every race. So the way I mark these ballots, it's going to give us a number on every line item on our precinct report. So I already know the outcome of what these ballots should be. So after putting them through the machine, I'll run my precinct report. I'm going to cancel this initial report here. Once I open get the machine in the test mode, and I'll run a 0 report, so it'll just prove that there were no votes on that memory device before I put it in the machine. All right, so I'm not going to go through the whole process, but to start, I'm going to go to admin, and both of our passwords for our DS200 have been stuck to the top of the cover of your black box. So remember, if you get in a pinch and you don't know where that number is, it's inside the black box. All right, so once it's all ready to go, we're going to feed the ballots through. Once we feed them all through, we'll run our precinct report. Then we'll compare the totals to what they should be. And you'll see on the DS200 precinct report tape that every line item will have at least one tally or one vote counted. After we've proved that it's correct, that's when we take this little wired seal. This one's not real user-friendly. It's a little bit tough to get in. I usually just bend it a little bit so I can feed in from this side. I always put the memory device in the middle spot to make this easier. So once we know the machine is counting accurately and we know it's all good to go, we're gonna seal it in the machine. Hold that tight and then record that number on your inspector statement. Tamper evident serial number, or a tamper evident seal serial number is what that red one is. Got pictures in our training for that to help you identify where that's located as well. All right, so we've got it all in place. We'll go ahead and we have to zero out the totals before. We zero those out, and then I'm going to button everything up, turn the machine off, and then keep this machine stored in a safe place. Ideally, if you can leave it right where it was tested, that's great. Then it's not moved, it's not unplugged at any time. So now, come election morning, chief inspector is going to come in, open everything up. Open that up, the lid for the memory seal, and just verify that that red seal is in place and it's the same number that's on the inspector statement. Then we run our zero count, open the polls. We'll see our zero tape come out. There are two of them, and then we're gonna roll that up and set that inside. And throughout the day, it's going to make sure that nobody tampers with this. And then at the close of the polls, 8 o'clock or whenever we get our final votes through, we'll shut down the polls, run our precinct reports, which will be attached right to the zero report. That way we can prove that there were no interruptions during the day and that tape had not been moved or tampered with. So those are our proofs. Then at the end of the day, chief inspector will undo the seal, verify it's the same seal in place. I'll take the memory device, add the seal, put it back in the black box. So our memory devices for both the Automark and the DS200 are in the black box. And then we have an extra seal in there. And then we seal it up. Make sure that number's on there. And then all of our sealed material is then taken to either the county clerk's office or the city clerk's office in Tomahawk, where we communicate over a VPN for our election results that are uncertified. So election results on election night are not certified results. the preliminary results. So when we communicate on the internet, we put our files on the web on our page. We copy from our election computer. We copy the files to a separate memory stick and use that memory stick to put in the computers. We never ever stick our memory devices into an unknown computer, or they would never be vulnerable to a direct line or web link. So that's something we're very conscious of. We've gotten all of our memory devices right from ES&S company in Nebraska, and those are guaranteed not to have any kind of malware or anything on them. So basically, in a nutshell, that's how we secure our election and the materials that prove our results. So we always have the results on our memory stick. So if we ever had to reproduce or compare the results, if we would ever lose results or whatever, we always have that memory stick that we can plug back into a computer and then do a hand count to compare our ballots. So hopefully that helps with knowing the security process of our election and knowing what these numbers mean on your inspector's statement. These numbers are very, very important. The Legislative Audit Bureau, say that slower, the Legislative Audit Bureau, which did a report on our last election in 22, this fall general. And that was one of the things that they cited, was that things were not properly recorded on the inspector's statement. So they're gonna be looking for this stuff, and hopefully we'll be ready and they won't find any errors in what we do here in Lincoln County. All right, thank you.